Good evening. This week I'm discussing the core question, upon what foundation are the U.S. schools built? There are three questions that I developed under the main core questions. Question 1. When it comes to the education of special needs, is an inclusive school system effective? Question 2 is, should the government fund alternatives to public education, such as homeschool programs or special education facilities? 3. How can public education systems improve to be more inclusive without infringing on religious or spiritual beliefs? The first question, when it comes to the education of special needs, is an inclusion school system effective? Answering this question is a little tricky because I believe that there isn't a broad answer. Children who have specific learning challenges range from various problems to various levels of severity. One child might do well in an inclusive classroom, while another might struggle to a point of being too stressed, to a point where it's toxic for the child and maybe also to other children in the class. Before a parent or caregiver can determine if the child should be in an inclusive classroom, the parent needs to understand what the child's reasonable level of learning is and determine if it would fit into that type of classroom. That can be determined whether through counseling, professional intervention, or even assessment that might actually help determine if the child would do well in that classroom. When a child is pushed to learn within his or her zone of proximal development, that child will be able to reach higher and accomplish more. But we need to make sure that we're not making that child reach further than what they're able to accomplish. Question 2. Should the government fund alternatives to public education, such as homeschool programs or special education facilities? Once again, there is no simple answer to this question. When the government funds a program, the government has a stake in the program. This means that the government has a level of control that may or may not be beneficial. For example, government regulations in teacher certification and other areas of the school could actually help promote quality education that is available to everyone. But government control only works if governing bodies are run by fair people, which we know isn't always the case. Government funding would be beneficial for families in low-income situations with special needs where public education isn't a feasible option. But for those families, they need to ensure that they fully understand the regulations that are required and the policies that are associated with that funding. With that full understanding, then the parents or caregivers can determine if that area is the best place for an alternative to public school. Third question. How can public education systems improve to be more inclusive without infringing on religious or spiritual beliefs? In my opinion, the best way to ensure that public education is inclusive yet safe for all students, parents and communities need to be involved. When the community is involved together in forming regulations and policies, they tend to respect more of the population as a whole. Taking part in a community forums will keep policies that are in the best interest for all students, no matter what their beliefs or backgrounds. These are ideal situations and it doesn't always work out as we hope and intend, but if parents take responsibility and get involved, the likelihood of appropriate decisions being made will be reached when you're a part of the decision-making process. I hope that my presentation was helpful tonight, and good luck and happy teaching.